Welcome to my channel Buzz. Bob Hope finally tells the truth about Andy Gibb. Bob Hope was born Leslie Towns Hope on May 29, 1903 in Eltham, a quiet area in southeast London, England. He came from a family that mixed art and shows in their blood. His dad, William Henry Hope, was a great sculptor and stoneworker, whose love for perfect work maybe taught young Leslie to love hard work and being creative. His mom, Avis Towns, was a light opera singer, a job that brought music into their home and gave Bob early taste of performing, being on stage, and the power of song. This mix of art and performing formed the basic feeling that helped his future in show business. In 1908, when Bob was only 5 years old, his family made a big move to the United States, living in Cleveland, Ohio. Getting used to a new country, culture, and language could have been hard for a young child, but Cleveland would become the place of his growing up years. He went to the boys' industrial school, a place made to teach useful skills and rules, which likely helped his never-ending work habits later in life. Even as a child, Bob showed amazing drive to entertain people. By the age of 12, he was already making pocket money by singing, dancing, and doing comedy at local places, showing natural talent for getting audiences interested. His gift for copying others was very clear when he won a prize for his perfect copy of comic legend Charlie Chaplin, an early sign of his comedy skills and timing. As a teenager, Bob balanced work and personal growth with amazing effort. He took on hard jobs as a lineman and a butcher's helper, working long hours while at the same time following his love for dance. Along with his girlfriend Millie Rosequist, he went to dance classes. He worked on his moves and stage presence. This time of his life shows the two sides of his early life: hard work to support himself and a never-ending chase of artistic growth, a mix that would define his work path. By 1925, Bob Hope's hard work in performing paid off when he joined a traveling dance group called Hurley's Jolly Follies with Millie Rosequist. This experience gave him a first taste of life on the road, performing for different audiences and getting used to the lively and sometimes hard-to-predict nature of live entertainment. Building on this, he helped start the comedy dance and act group dance medians with George Burns and the Hilton Sisters, mixing humor with dance in a style that was new for the time and showed his gift for blending many entertainment styles. Hope's talent quickly moved to Broadway, where in 1933 he got the role of Huckleberry Haynes in the show Roberta at the New Amsterdam Theater in New York. The experience of performing on Broadway let him work on his comedy timing and stage skills in front of smart audiences. In 1934, he made his first try into the film business by signing a 6-year deal with Educational Pictures in New York. He starred in the short comedy film Going Spanish. This marked the start of his long relationship with movies, a medium in which he would become one of the most known faces of the 20th century. By 1937, Hope's talent was also getting popular on the radio. He became a regular on NBC Radio, starting with the Woodbury Soap Hour and later starring in the Pepsodent Show, which brought his humor and charm into millions of American homes. Radio let him reach audiences far beyond what stage shows could achieve, showing his ability to change and broad appeal. The next year in 1938, Bob Hope moved to Hollywood after signing for the film The Big Broadcast of 1938 with Paramount Pictures. The film had the now famous song Thanks for the Memory, which became his signature tune and showed his ability to mix music, comedy, and feelings into one unforgettable show. After this success, he appeared in many films including College Swing, Give Me a Sailor, Thanks for the Memory, Never Say Die, Some Like It Hot, and The Cat and the Canary, slowly building his name as a skilled and reliable comedy actor. Hope's big break in movies came in 1940 with the box office hit Road to Singapore, a film that not only made his movie career strong, but also started the very successful Road to series, co-starring Bing Crosby. Over the next years, he gave memorable shows in films like My Favorite Brunette 1947, where he played the charming Ronnie Jackson, and The Paleface 1948, a Western comedy directed by Norman Z. MacLeod that further made his position as a leading entertainer able to blend humor with detailed character work. Besides films, Bob Hope became a household name on television. From 1950 onwards, he hosted and appeared in many NBC television programs such as The Star-Spangled Review, The Bob Hope Show, and special guest appearances on famous shows like I Love Lucy. His television presence was so powerful that from 1963 to 1967, he hosted the award-winning NBC anthology series Bob Hope Presents the Chrysler Theater, showing his ability to handle different formats and keep mass appeal. Hope's commitment to entertaining went beyond the studio. Between 1970 and 1971, he made special Christmas programs for NBC, famously traveling to Vietnam to perform in front of U.S. military people during the height of the war. These tours showed not only his love for performing, but also his patriotic spirit and deep care for servicemen and women, earning him lasting admiration and respect. Despite decades of amazing success, Hope made his final movie appearance in 1972 with the film Cancel My Reservation, which was poorly received. Still, by this time, his legacy had already been firmly set across stage, radio, film, and television. Bob Hope's life and career show an unmatched work ethic, a lasting ability to entertain across multiple media, and an extraordinary connection with audiences worldwide, leaving a legacy that continues to influence performers today. In 1933, Bob Hope entered into his first marriage with Grace Louise Troxell, a talented performer who had become his vaudeville partner. The two shared not only a stage, but also a deep connection built through countless hours of performing together, in theaters and on traveling circuits. Their relationship, however, proved to be short-lived. Despite the shared excitement of life on the vaudeville circuit and the early passion that drew them together, the pressures of touring, performing, and the demands of young careers in entertainment placed a huge strain on their personal lives. After just 1 year of marriage in 1934, the couple made the difficult decision to part ways and finalize their divorce. This brief union, though short in time, represented an important chapter in Hope's early adulthood, marking both a personal and professional transition as he navigated the challenges of love and commitment while pursuing a growing career in show business. Later in 1934, following his first divorce, Bob Hope found lasting companionship with Dolores Reed, a woman who would become his lifelong partner and anchor amid the whirlwind of his career. Their marriage, in contrast to his first, would last for decades and become a cornerstone of Hope's personal life. Together, Bob and Dolores built a family, adopting 4 children, which reflected not only their shared love, but also their commitment to nurturing and raising a household in the midst of an exceptionally busy entertainment career. Dolores supported Hope through his rise to international stardom in radio, film, and television, serving as a stabilizing presence during the hectic demands of Hollywood and the USO tours that would define much of his life. Their partnership was a true collaboration of life and love, rooted in shared values and mutual respect. They remained devoted to one another for more than 6 decades, staying together until Bob Hope's death, and their enduring marriage stands as a testament to the strength of their bond, contrasting sharply with the brevity of his first marriage and highlighting the personal happiness he ultimately found alongside Dolores and their children. Bob Hope, one of the most beloved entertainers of the 20th century, finally opened up about his relationship with Andy Gibb, offering the public an honest glimpse into a personal story that had long remained behind the scenes. For decades, rumors swirled about the interactions between the legendary comedian and the youngest Gibb brother, whose meteoric rise in the music industry was tragically cut short. In a rare and deeply personal interview, Hope reflected on those years with a combination of humor, warmth, and the unflinching honesty that had defined both his career and his private life. Andy was a bright light, Hope began, his voice tinged with a mixture of nostalgia and regret. He had an energy about him that was infectious and a charm that could disarm anyone in the room. I always admired his talent, but more than that, I admired his heart. He genuinely wanted to make people happy through his music, and he did it effortlessly. Hope elaborated on the nature of his interactions with Andy Gibb, revealing that their relationship extended beyond the casual encounters one might expect between an older celebrity and a rising star. We weren't just acquaintances at parties or on television sets, Hope explained. I spent real time with him talking about life, career pressures, and the pitfalls of fame. I could see the potential he had, not just as a performer, but as a young man trying to navigate a world that often demanded more than anyone could reasonably give. This insight not only highlighted Hope's mentorship instincts, but also revealed a side of Andy that few in the public eye had seen. Vulnerable, reflective, and seeking guidance from someone whose experience was invaluable. He did not shy away from addressing the more difficult aspects of Andy Gibb's life, including his struggles with addiction and the relentless pressure of celebrity. Andy faced challenges that most people can't even imagine, Hope said soberly. The spotlight can be cruel, especially to someone so young and talented. I watched him wrestle with things that were entirely unfair to him, and it broke my heart at times. But I also saw moments of pure joy and brilliance that reminded me why we do what we do. I wish the world had understood him better, had been a little kinder to him. These reflections showed a depth of empathy and care, underscoring that Hope's connection to Andy was rooted in genuine concern, rather than mere public relations. Hope also addressed some of the misconceptions and media speculation that had long surrounded their interactions. There were stories that were exaggerated, stories that painted Andy in ways that weren't true, and even some about me that weren't accurate, he admitted. I felt it was time to set the record straight, not to criticize anyone, but to honor Andy's memory and to give people a more truthful picture of who he was. He wasn't perfect. None of us are. But he was a remarkable person in so many ways. And he deserves to be remembered that way. By confronting these myths, Hope offered both a defense of Andy's legacy and a reminder of the human cost of fame, highlighting how public perception often distorts reality. Finally, Bob Hope shared a personal anecdote that captured the essence of his relationship with Andy Gibb. I remember one evening after a show, Andy and I were sitting backstage just talking about the future. He was nervous about the next steps in his career, worried about living up to expectations. I told him, Andy, the most important thing is to stay true to yourself. Fame comes and goes, but who you are inside, that's what matters. He smiled, and I could see a sense of relief wash over him. That was Andy, a young man full of potential and heart, trying to figure it all out. Through these candid revelations, Bob Hope not only honored Andy Gibb's memory, but also allowed the public a glimpse into the compassion and wisdom that defined his own life. In sharing the truth, he reinforced his role not just as a comedian and entertainer, but as a mentor and friend, someone who recognized talent, nurtured it, and mourned its loss, with sincerity. Andy deserved a longer time in the spotlight, Hope concluded. But even in his short life, he made an indelible mark on those who knew him and on the world. I'm grateful I had the chance to know him, and I hope others remember him as the extraordinary person he truly was. On the morning of July 27, 2003, the world bid farewell to one of its most beloved entertainers, Leslie Townes Hope, better known to millions simply as Bob Hope. At the age of 100, Hope passed away from pneumonia at his longtime residence in Toluca Lake, California, a place that had been home to him and his wife for decades. The news of his passing spread quickly across the globe, eliciting an outpouring of grief, admiration, and remembrance from fans, fellow performers, and public figures alike. Bob Hope's life had spanned an entire century, and in that time, he had become synonymous with laughter, generosity, and unwavering patriotism, particularly for his tireless work entertaining American troops around the world. His passing marked not just the end of a life, but the closing of a chapter in the history of 20th century entertainment, one that had seen Hope rise from modest beginnings in London to become an international icon in an intimate moment. Shared with television journalist Soledad O'Brien, Hope's grandson, Zach Hope, recounted a story that captured the humor and unpredictability that defined his grandfather's personality until the very end. According to Zach, when asked on his deathbed where he wished to be buried, Bob Hope, ever the wit, allegedly turned to his wife Dolores and said, "Surprise me." This remark reflected not only his lifelong love of humor, but also his deep bond with Dolores, his partner in life and love for nearly 7 decades. It was a final punchline in a career and personal life that had always combined charm, quick thinking, and a playful irreverence, traits that had endeared him to generations of fans. Following his passing, Hope's remains were temporarily placed in a mausoleum vault at the San Fernando Mission Cemetery, a historic site that had long been associated with the Los Angeles entertainment community. Plans were already underway for the creation of a more permanent tribute, the Bob Hope Memorial Garden. Situated adjacent to the cemetery at the San Fernando Mission, this serene and beautifully landscaped memorial garden was designed not only as a resting place but as a lasting symbol of Hope's extraordinary contributions to the arts, charitable causes, and the morale of American service members. It would allow fans, historians, and admirers alike to visit and reflect on the life of a man whose impact reached far beyond the stage and screen. Dolores Hope, who had shared this remarkable journey with Bob, would herself pass away 8 years later in 2011 at the remarkable age of 102, further cementing the legacy of a couple whose lives were intertwined with both entertainment and philanthropy.